Hi, this is Rob from robneville.net. I keep wanting to make one of these videos, but I didn't want to do the hey, here's what I did today kind of things. I want to do something useful. Anyway, I have one of these third generation iPods. I know it's rather old, but it still serves me rather well, except that the battery is starting to go on it. And I got a couple of friends that actually just threw theirs out and bought new ones, and while I'd like a new one, well, actually an iPhone, hint hint, it's actually relatively cheap. It's about 20-30 bucks. You can buy a battery replacement kit, and it's a little trickier than just replacing the batteries on your remote control, but I'm going to go through the steps and show you how to do this. Okay, so I've got everything together here that you need. Your iPod, the tool that comes with the kit that helps you pry it open, the new battery, and you need a tape measure or a ruler, and of course the instructions. I am a hacker, but for whatever reason I'm big on instructions. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and start taking this thing apart. Okay, first thing the instructions say to do is to measure 6 centimeters, or sorry, yeah, 6 centimeters from the end, and to start prying the case open at that point. So 6 centimeters is right about there, and you just use the supplied tool, which is really nothing more than a really tiny screwdriver. And basically you just start prying this thing in there. You start working it apart. Now you want to be careful not to scratch the outside of the case too much, or it'll be obvious that you've gotten into this thing. Is you want to work it until you just want to work one side of this until you get the case popped, just like this. Now it takes a lot of patience, and you just got to keep going at it. But once you've got one side like this, then go around to the other side and pry it open. But don't pry it all the way open, because there's some tabs in here that are holding the case on, and you're going to want to push those in a very particular way in order to get this off. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to work on the other side now and see if I can't get that one popped out too. Okay, you'll see now I'm starting to get the other side. The best way to do it is to just start from the crack that you created on the one side and just work it around the top, and then come around the side here and just kind of keep prying a little bit with this little screwdriver. There. Now I've got it popped all the way around. And voila, the iPod is now opened. Now, what you see in here, actually, this bit right here, that's basically the hard disk. You'll need to pull that out of the way. Okay, which you just peel it back. Now don't pull it all the way off, because you know, it's held by a data cable down here. Same thing up here. You don't want to pull these data cables apart. This black bit right here, that's the battery, and that's what we're going to be replacing. Use this tool to kind of pry the battery out of there. Now be careful, don't gouge in there real hard, because there's a circuit board underneath here. Okay, that's not supposed to come out, but that's okay, because it just plugs in down here, so I'll be able to plug it back in. So that's no big deal. Well, maybe not. maybe the better idea is to try to use the pry tool to guide this little set of cables underneath here. And really, for those of you that didn't know this, the innovation in the iPod was really this. Those of you that have pulled apart a computer before or a laptop and have seen a laptop hard drive, you'll recognize these markings. This is basically just a hard disk. The other thing I want to do is you want to make sure that it's in there really good, because you don't want to be pulling it apart again to make sure it's right. Now, what I just noticed here, and had I read the instructions first, they would have pointed this out, but I started to push on here to make sure it was seated in there, but I noticed that the board that it's on down here started to bend. And the reason is there's nothing underneath it. So that's partially why I think it's important to wrap this power cord back around the bottom of this the way it came, so that there's something underneath there, so when I push down on this to make sure it's seated in there, it's not going to pop out. Since everyone's watching, but normally I would be cursing under my breath right now about what a pain in the neck this is. Alright, but I love my iPod and I'm too poor to go buy a new one. Again, like I said, unless someone wants to get me an iPhone, I certainly won't complain. Alright. Alright, so I've tucked it back under there. I think it's plugged in good. We'll find out if it's not. Alright, now, when this thing popped out on me, I wasn't expecting that, but it did. You'll see there's a little socket here, and there's a corresponding socket right there. So I'm going to have to plug that back in, because that's going to be the data transfer. Alright, so that just fit right in there. And it's kind of cool. I can see the fingerprint of the guy on this little piece here, this little data ribbon. I can see the fingerprint of the guy that originally put this together, presumably some guy in China. Alright, so then I'm going to set that back in there. And you just push it back together. Make sure you push pretty good on all this. Just now the click wheel isn't working. So we're going to music, playlists. Yep, all my music is still here. Great. Right, so that pretty much wraps up replacing a third generation iPod battery. Now they sell different kits depending on if you've got a Nano or something like that. And I imagine that the steps are going to be very, very similar. I've never done this before. You saw me do it for the first time. I ran into a couple of surprises, but it really wasn't that big of a deal. And that's really my point in showing this. I just wanted to say it's not as scary as it sounds or even looks. It's a lot easier than you think. You're probably not going to break anything. Now they do tell you that doing this you potentially void the warranty, and they're not responsible for it, but presumably if you're replacing the battery, the unit's well out of warranty anyway. This wraps up my first video post, well, apart from the silly video that I posted on Saturday, but that pretty much wraps it up, and I'll see you next time.